Hello, this is Ravit Rose, author of Unwanted Nasty Divorces. One Passionate Mother's Revolution of Discovery, How to End the Struggle of Divorce and Survive the Journey. I wanted to share with you what the book was about, the cause that's behind it, the mission, and ultimately the revolution. First off, this is not a bash my ex-husband kind of book. That really wasn't the purpose of me writing this. This book really is an empowering book that will educate you and teach you about why and how a divorce gets nasty. Often when we get divorced, we don't really expect it to be so ugly or so bitter or acrimonious. We expect that each one of us will go on with our lives and our children will be untouched and will not suffer from the divorce. However, that's not really the case. When I divorced, I found comfort in speaking to other divorced moms and some dads also. I tried to understand why it was so hard. Why was the process so difficult? Why was I not feeling the way I thought I should feel? Why was I feeling that there were always challenges and trials and errors? And within time, I started to realize that there were common patterns, that no matter where we come from, our background, or even our educational background, we all seem to have these common things that keep happening. And we ask ourselves, why does this happen to me? What did I do to deserve this? Why are my children suffering? Why is it so hard? Why do I not get along with my ex? Why the constant struggles? And when I started to realize that there were common patterns, I said, wait a minute, this can't be the way we divorce. This is really not the ultimate purpose. Our children should not be struggling. Our children should have the best childhood possible, but they're not having that. And then at that point, I said to myself, it can't be like this. This has got to stop. And that's really why I decided to write a book about the common issues and the common problems that there are with divorces these days. So the book really talks in a mother's perspective, where Jane represents the voices of all the mothers I've spoken to, and John represents the fathers. In no way am I implying that the fathers are the perpetrators. I do believe strongly that children should have presence of mother and father in their lives. But because I spoke to more women and men were not as open or willing to talk about their issues, I felt more comfort in writing the book from a mother's perspective. However, if you are a father and you feel that you've been victimized by your divorce process, you can simply reverse the name Jane and John. There's no pointing fingers here in any way, shape, or form. So consider this book as your guidebook, as your how-tos, your list of do's and most definite do nots. If you don't want to walk through the path or a destructional path of nastiness and bitterness and vengefulness, then you really need to read this book and make sure that you're not doing what I mentioned in the book. I also detail the changes to the Quebec Civil Code of Procedure, which passed on January 1st, 2016, which unfortunately many people don't even really know about. However, it's critical to your case. So read on that chapter, it's very interesting. So first off, I have a question for you, and I really do want you to think about this. What do you think nasty divorces are all about? In my book, I mentioned three things that I found were the common issues for many families. But I don't want to give you the answer because I want you to actually think about it. And when you read the book, let me know if your answers were the same as mine. So the book is ideal for many people. If you're thinking of getting separated, you absolutely have to read this book before you do anything. So do not make a move until you read this book. You have to understand that getting into this nasty divorce process, which includes litigation, which is going to court, is all a game. It's a game of chance, of risk, if you will. You have to know what the game is. You have to know how to play your cards right. You have to know what to expect because your reality is not the reality you're going to see in court. And you're going to spend a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of frustration just to take one big circle and loop back to where you were at the beginning. If you're already divorced and you're having a hard time, sadly, you're not alone. However, I found that many people were feeling like they were alone, that they were the only ones struggling, that everyone else was having an easier time, or why is my divorce worse than someone else's, and why is their case easier than mine? Every divorce case is different. Every ex is unique. Every situation really has its own pros and cons to it. However, the struggles are all the same. They're all common to parents in general. If you know someone in your life who's undergone divorce and you're wondering to yourself, how is this even possible that this person is telling me that there's this problem and this kind of situation and that situation, how is it possible when we have a justice system? Well, the answer really is because the justice system is not seeing reality the way you and I see reality. It's a game with many loopholes and many flaws to it. And that's why it's important to try to find ways to eliminate the nasty divorces by going a more calm, peaceful approach, which makes more sense for the future. And this is really what I discuss in detail. If you're a therapist and you value the information that I've offered and you know that what I'm saying is truthful and you've experienced that with your clients and you have a program to share with other people, whether parents or children, and you feel that it could help them heal and grow and move on, please, I'd like to hear from you. If you're an attorney and you feel the need to stop these games, I welcome you to jump on board. So the book is divided into 4 sections. The first 2 sections include information which are really on a personal level. What's going to happen to you on a personal level once you separate. The third section is you suffering thanks to the justice system and the family courts. And the fourth section is how we can start changing our ways and healing from the divorce. So the first section is the onset of nasty divorces, where it talks about the big day, the decision, whether it was forced on you or you asked for it, whatever the situation is, it really doesn't make a difference. Then it talks about narcissists and it talks about personality disorders that I feel that the judges and the justice system really do have to keep in mind and use their power more to determine if a case is really one filled with a personal vendetta or if it's really coming from a justified place. And then the third chapter is women being forced to be superwomen, which is really a powerful section. The second section is how nasty divorces affect those closest to us. So our children, the grandparents, so the parents of the children, and your friends, and all the changes that are going to go on in your life. So the third part, which is really the big doozy, and the part that really starts to inform you and educate you on the true game, is the legal circus and how to get out alive. And it talks about the justice system. It talks about litigation attorneys, what to expect when you hire a litigation attorney. What are the costs going to be? What are the pros and cons? And then it talks about the more positive approach to divorcing, which is really divorcing the right way, in my opinion. I know it may sound strange, but there really is a right way to divorce, and there's a definite wrong way to divorce. The right way to divorce is where you go on with your life, both you and your ex, and you're able to co-everything together. You're communicating, co-parenting, coexisting. Everything is together. So you're living 2 separate lives, but you're able to raise your children in an environment where they're not feeling any pain. And then it talks about also mediation and collaborative law. And it talks about the pros and cons of both, which are really 2 options that people should be looking at a lot more in detail, rather than saying, you know what, you upset me, I'm not happy with you, so I'll see you in court, because that answer really doesn't get you anywhere far at all. The fourth part is healing from a nasty divorce, where we start talking about these solutions and how we can move on from whatever games we went through, whatever challenges, trials, and errors, and start to move on with our lives the way we should be going on. The more detailed solutions will be available on my website at www.ravitrose.com, where expert help will be available, whether it's psychologists, social workers, attorneys coming from more peaceful methods of divorce, and financial advisors that will help you rebuild your finances and really question whether or not you really could afford going to court. Because at the end of the day, if you decide to go the nasty way, you have to realize that you're going to have to pay the big bill, and there's no way to get out of it. So if you're planning to go with the fight, you have to understand that you're going to be paying for a very long time, unless the funds are unlimited and you don't have an issue with that. You are all invited to my book launch party. This is day 1 of the revolution, where we all come out and start expressing our frustrations with the legal system. The power is in the numbers. The more people attend the event, the bigger the impact will be. I look forward to meeting all of you on June 21st, and you should find the information here or on my website or on my Facebook page. Thank you very much.